audience in a little bit. I got my music playing a little bit longer today. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're watching here in the world. My name is Brenda Meller. This is my live stream series, which goes onto my podcast that's called Enthusiastically Self-Employed. And I'm delighted that you're all joining us here today. I'm here with my friend and client, and I'm on his list too, so I don't know if I could say I'm a client of yours. I guess I could. We're club clients of
Absolutely.
each other. Royce Blake. Hey, Royce, how are you doing today?
Let me check. Yeah, I'm delightful, Brenda. Absolutely.
You're
Glad to
here.
be
We're,
here
we're
for sure.
we both made it today. That's the
Yes, it
key
was a
there.
little dicey, but we
Yeah.
made it.
It's all good. Well, I want to welcome our audience. If you happen to be watching us live, we're actually up on 3 networks today. I finally figured out how to get the Instagram stream to go live as well. It's a little bit tricky in getting that going, but we're on LinkedIn right now. We are on YouTube and we are on Instagram. So, whichever network you are watching on, whether it's live or in playback, we would love it if you could drop a comment below and let us know if you are team live or team replay. And if you know Royce, you can say hi, Royce. Maybe let us know where in the world you're watching from, but just give us a quick greeting. That lets us know that the live stream is picking up. And this is one of the challenge I feel like, Royce, of these live stream events is we don't know who's in the audience unless they identify themselves,
Hey, you
coming up
should
to the
try it on the radio. You never know.
is that the times where you get like your friends and family calling in and you're like, somebody is listening to this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or wait 3 months for the ratings to come out and then you find out.
There you go. Okay, so thank you, Sharon. Sharon's saying, yeah, this is going to be pretty amazing, Sharon. You're not wrong on that. I think it's going to be a fun chat today. Glad to have you joining us from Phoenix. I'm guessing you know Sharon. Is that a fair assumption, Royce?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of hers.
Oh, good. Well, glad to have you on here. I also see Meryl Cass is joining us from LinkedIn, and there's a little bit of a delay. So when the comments come up, it takes about 20 seconds for them to come up on screen, and then I have to bring them into Restream. So if you've commented and I haven't brought yours up yet, don't be alarmed. We will bring you up on screen so we can give you a shout out here. While we're waiting for those comments to come in, Royce, I know you a bit, and you and I were talking in the pre-show. I feel like we were virtually circling wagons for several years before we actually started chatting a little bit more in the DMs and then getting on each other's email lists and whatnot. So I know a bit about you. For the sake of our audience, could you take a few minutes and tell us about you? So, what do you do? Who do you help? And what do you help them with?
Absolutely. Glad to. I help podcasters, event hosts, basically anyone that has to be in front of an audience go from mic shy to camera confident. And I know we'll talk about this, how weird it is and how scary it is to be in front of a microphone. See, I was a major market radio personality for well over 30 years. And, after a while, I realized I did mostly morning shows. And I realized after 10 a.m., I was off. And if that sounds, like a cush job, the hard part's not getting up at 3:30 a.m. It's being funny at 5. That's the hard part of a morning show. But I realized once I got home and after a much needed nap, then I decided, hey, I got a whole day here. And that's how I got into marketing. And that was about 24 years ago. I became a copywriter first and then slowly moved on, became a marketing strategist, which what I am now. And I've been a licensed certified marketing coach for the last 17 years. So I do still help a lot of businesses. And I it all of a sudden I started actually a few friends kicked me in the butt and said, "Why aren't you using your radio skills?" And it was always hard to relate that to copywriting. I had to tell look, I had to be creative every weekday. Okay, so imagine what I could do with your product if I had a week. Some people just did not get that correlation. So I decided to pivot more and start teaching people interviewing skills because I've interviewed hundreds of mainly celebrities on the air over that career. And, we still all these, YouTube things about podcasts. It's almost always about tech or studio lighting, but no one ever teaches you like how to get a guest to shut up or how to get a guest to open up, things like that, how to draw things out of people. And that's what I'm teaching now and really moving people along in their podcast and presenting journey. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
That's great, and I love that you've got this marketing background along with the work that you're doing with podcasting and helping people with interviews. I'm curious, you said something about being a licensed marketing coach. Can you tell me about that? Because I've heard of different licenses and certifications that are out there. Maybe I misspoke when I said that, but
Right.
what is that certification or license that you have?
To be honest, it was one of the toughest tests I've ever taken. And, this, believe it or not, and I'm also a licensed private pilot, even though I don't fly a lot anymore. It was almost as tough as that. I thought it was going to be, yeah, sure, I'm a marketing coach, and this had to be 60 pages long of like, hey, there's no boxes to check. Everything is an essay type answer, and so anyway, I finally made it, and it's myself and about I think there's eight other of us in this one coaching group, and I love it except for the fact that and we do everything. You had to learn everything, right? Business plans, the whole nine yards. I'm not good with forms, Brenda. I can just admit it. I don't like doing spreadsheets. So, that part I kind of lean off, but I'm excellent at listening to ideas and coming up with crazy, being on the, I'm a goofball. I got paid to be a goofball. So, sure, I can take a weird angle. And, if we have time, I got a quick story
Sure.
because for some, well, I know I went to a Jewelers Association meeting. And this is a great tip for anybody in marketing, or it doesn't have to be copywriting, but any kind of service. Go to association meetings. I guarantee you'll be the only copywriter in the room. Because if you're in a room full of plumbers, or in my case, jewelers, and all of a sudden you say, oh, well, I help people write advertising, you have to dumb it down a little bit. Nobody knows what a copywriter really does. And all of a sudden I got signed up with all these jewelers. Well, both of them wanted to do weekend private sale promotions, which is excellent. You take your best customers, you offer them a private sale, and they make usually a lot of money off that because they're the best customers. One of my clients is in Connecticut, very staid, very proper, very prim. For his event, he wanted a five-string band in there. He wanted champagne, glasses, and the whole nine yards. My other client, who's in Alabama, we decided to throw a zombie party. And yes, people came to the store dressed as zombies. Smoke machines everywhere, weird music playing, the whole thing. And they came, and would zombies buy jewelry? Yes. Both of those events made over $200,000 in that
Wow.
one weekend. But you can see totally different tracks as far as marketing goes.
That's awesome. Wow, that's a great, and I put that pro tip up on the screen. I'll bring it back up there again. Go to association meetings that aren't
You'll
in
be
your industry, right? I think that was the
absolutely, or
key.
or anybody you'd like to work with that
Mhm.
you haven't been able to, get any good reach from.
Yeah.
Show up at their association meeting, and you'll be a star.
That's awesome. It's a great tip. So, okay, so we're going to circle back to the topic at hand today, which we've already kind of started. You've already started sharing some great tips, and we're going to talk about keeping any type of audience engaged. And it sounds like from your background, this is something you had to do for many years, I'm sure, while in radio, right? Keeping audiences engaged. I mean, how do you know? Like we were talking before, like how do you know if they're engaged? Because when you're on the radio, unless you're getting the lifetime feedback, you don't know. Is it simply in the ratings or how did you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's if you think about it, it's the same with podcasting today. You don't really know how many likes or downloads you're going to get. You're just there performing, and at least now you have the ability to edit, which I never had. It's live. It's going out whether you like it or not. But I think the number one thing people come to me with me now is they're scared of the mic. They hate their voice. They hate the way they sound. You remember the first time you heard your voice recorded, Brenda?
I probably blocked it out because it was not good.
it's it's scary, right? We're human, and I find the reason is because everybody hears it and they like, "Wow, I sound like that." Well, I finally found a perfect sentence to really explain that. We hear our voice through bone.
Mm,
Other people hear it through air.
Mm,
And
okay.
that's why it sounds different, including a microphone. When you're speaking, that's how everyone else hears you. When
Yeah.
you're hearing yourself, you're going through the bones in your head, and that's why you sound so different. So, yeah, the awesome part today is in this age of AI, I think we're headed more towards real now. People are going to want more real humans. So, you don't have to have a deep voice or be resonant or even be perfect with your pronunciation or whatever. They're looking for real now, which I think bodes well for anybody. It doesn't, you think of some of the best podcasters today, they don't have radio voices. They're just real people. And I've got a great way to what I call it's really the title of everything would be getting used to you.
Mm,
And once you get used to your own voice and your own, let's say speech patterns, it's going to be much easier. When you're on the air, you're hearing it live in the headphones, right? So you know exactly how you sound. You have to
yeah.
be careful at that point too, not to change your voice because it sounds better. And I'm sure you've all heard disc jockeys, because you put headphones on and you say, "Hey there." You're like, "Wow, that sounds good." And all of a sudden you go,
Yeah.
"Hey there." uh, "Hey there," and "Hey, that sounds even better." And pretty
Mm,
soon they're talking like this because they think it sounds so great.
yeah.
So, you don't want to do that. What you want to do, and this is the easiest thing, and we're lucky to live in this time, grab your phone, record yourself a
Mhm.
lot. Now, the awesome part is you can delete it. No one else has to know you're even doing this, and you can delete every recording. But the
Mhm.
secret is record yourself talking for 5 minutes, 5 minutes straight. That's a long time, and you'll find out, but it's very important. You can start with your elevator pitch, your sales pitch if you want, but
Mhm.
then move on to, it could be a grocery list. It could be I love, talking about why your best friend is your best friend or your favorite hobby. How did you get into it? Whatever,
Yeah.
because after you run out of things to say, that's when the real you comes out, and that's what you'll be listening for.
I wanna give a shout out right now to Annette
Sure.
Richmond. She's also a part of the membership community that you're a part of my program called
Right.
Marketing with Meller, and Annette talks about a very similar technique as well, where and it's great to hear other experts saying the same thing, and she'll say, "Record yourself on video," and I think she says, like, do it for, like, 30 days or 7 days or something. To record yourself on video, don't watch it right away, but, like, at the end of the
No.
30 days, rewatch everything and then delete it out. You're not gonna post it anywhere, but, like, the
Right.
technique of just getting comfortable recording, it helps you to get over that hump of, "Oh my gosh, I sound terrible, I look terrible." It's that
Yes, you don't
practice
ever
technique, right?
what you wait at least a full day,
Mm.
because after a day, guess what, Brenda? You'll smile more, you'll be thinner, you'll sound much better, everything will look better the next day.
Sky is
So,
bluer, the birds are
absolutely.
chirping,
You'll be much if you watch it right away, you'll be so critical. So give it some time. And then
Yeah.
here's the secret. When you watch it back, watch it with the phone face down.
Mm,
Don't
okay.
look at it.
Oh.
Just turn the volume up and listen to yourself. And that's when you'll start to hear what we call crutches, right? Those ums,
Mhm,
ahs, you know what I means, all those little things you may not even realize you're doing. And that will make them stick out.
mm,
After you do that, then go ahead and watch it, but this time with the sound down, not listening, just watching yourself. Are you swaying? Do you go back and forth a lot? Do you use the same? Are you always grabbing your glasses or touching your head or, little things you wouldn't notice? And then watch it all together. And
mm.
then you do that for 5 to 10 times, you're going to see amazing progress. And after 30, you won't recognize yourself. You'll be so much better.
It'll
And
be a
it's so
different and
easy
that's
to do.
so that whole combination of techniques to get comfortable on camera, this is a way oh, I put the wrong title up on here, of keeping your audience engaged, and if you're just joining us, we're doing this as a live conversation right now, you might be watching us in playback too. Either way, make sure that you're commenting. because we want to make sure we know who's watching today. But we're talking today with Royce Blake about keeping any type of audience engaged. And one of the techniques I used, Royce, is what I just did. I assume somebody jumped in a few minutes late and they're like, what the heck are these people talking about? I know Royce, I know Brenda. And I just kind of resynced us back up. I'm like, hey, wherever you're at, welcome to the topic. Here's what we're talking about. My goal is to keep people in. Is that a technique that you use or anything you want to share as a
Absolutely.
jumping off point there?
No, absolutely. It's important to tell people. I'm sure we've all heard the phrase, okay, tell them what you're going to say, tell them, and then tell them what you just said. To
Mhm.
go even deeper on that, don't be afraid to tease them, hook them in, tell them what they can expect. And you can do that multiple times. I do all the time on the radio. Don't forget, this hour we'll have Bruce Springsteen live, right? Halfway through. Hey, we're down to 22 minutes before the boss live, things like that. And that keeps going, and tell people exactly what's coming up, because you may not, especially if you have multiples topics, if you may not hit somebody with, gosh, we're going to teach you how to paint your house, versus, okay, Taylor Swift just dropped a new album. We'll tell you all about it, right? You're totally
Yeah.
different audiences, but
Yeah.
something you say may keep people sticking around. So don't be afraid to, just add multiple hooks, so we
Mhm.
call them in the radio business, that keep people, hanging around. So
But
that's
you just
also,
mentioned Taylor Swift. I'm a Swiftie, and that just hooked me right back in. I've
see,
got I've
see,
got the, is it The State of Ophelia? I can't think of the new song, whatever, the something of Ophelia. I've got it stuck in my head right now. It keeps replaying. I'm gonna learn the song. I gotta learn the routine that she does in the video, but again, it's a great technique of pulling those hooks in to keep your audience engaged. And it sounds like you are mainly focusing on working with people for podcasts. Is that right, Royce? And if so, any suggestions there on keeping podcast listeners engaged?
yeah, it's once again, there's, we can get, and I do talk a little bit about this, but once again, there are so many channels out there about, how important your thumbnail is, and the first, let's say 5 to 6 seconds of your podcast, your hook. That should be that thing that people are in, both in the title and in the first things you say. Don't ever start a podcast. And by the way, here's another thing: talk to one person. Everyone cares about the magic word in marketing. What's in it for me? And if you can
Yes.
answer that question first, then you're way ahead of the game. So make sure you're talking to one person. Don't say, hi, everybody. Welcome, folks. Talk to me. And, that's, once again, it's something you need to learn. And especially podcasting is much like radio, in that it's almost 90+% a solo listening
Mhm.
experience, right? You're not listening to a podcast with a bunch of friends usually, right? You're doing the laundry, you're, doing, mowing the lawn, whatever it is.
Walking your dog
So
Pepper, that's what I do. Anytime I
yeah,
hear
yeah,
somebody talking about a
absolutely.
podcast, I load it up in my podcast player and I say, "Hey, I'm gonna listen to this on my next walk with Pepper because we go for like 3 to 4 walks a day. Her choice, not mine. But
Right.
yeah, it's a dog walking
Yes,
thing for me. Mhm.
and that you have to assume, and it's hard for some egos to accept this, but I'm sorry, they're not listening to every word you're saying.
Yeah.
So if you
Mhm.
have an idea you really want to hit home, then pound it again and again. We get
Mhm.
so tired, especially in marketing, of saying the same thing over and over again. We think people are bored of this. They haven't even heard it yet. So, don't be afraid to reuse things. If you have a special section or a feature, pound it and keep pounding it. And once again, test. If it doesn't work, if the ladle hour didn't work, then might want to move on to something else. So
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, good point. So you mentioned something earlier I want to come back to, which is, how to get people, I think you said to speak up or to shut up. So if you're
right,
interviewing someone,
right, and
both
this
of those are really intriguing. And now I always like try to, I'm doing my podcast interviews as a live stream as we're doing here, but I am probably going to be converting to a recorded session moving forward. So it won't be live stream, it'll just be interviewing. But sometimes, I like try to screen people and I'm like, Royce is going to be a great interviewer. I'm not going to have a problem getting him to speak up. And I don't think you're
No.
gonna be on the other side, which is how do I interject and get him to shut up so I can keep it as an interview and not as a solo talk. But
Right. Yeah.
share with us your thoughts on both getting people to speak up or getting people to shut up. How do you do that?
Sure. Sure. As far as getting people to shut up, I call it become suddenly inquisitive. In other
Mm,
words, ask a question like you just remembered it.
mm,
If Bob is going on about his, I don't know, insurance business, you know, for what should have been a sentence is now a paragraph, you just jump in and go, "Oh, Bob, wait, before I forget, I wanted to learn about that time you accidentally set your car on fire." So, I mean, things like that. If you act like it doesn't seem jarring to the guest and or the listener. And here's the thing about humans, we can only think of one question to answer at a time. If I give
mhm.
you a new question, you're going to move right on to that thought. I mean, like I was thinking, gosh, Brenda, but you're so great at lives. But, hey, before I forget, peanut butter, creamy or crunchy?
Yeah. Natural.
And
I gotta go
you can't
natural.
help but think about peanut butter, right?
Yeah.
So, as far as and this goes for everything, especially if you're interviewing guests,
Mhm.
do your research. And I cannot pound that enough. Take the time to do the research and don't go off one website or whatever. Dig deep. You know, I interviewed tons of celebrities,
Mm.
and a lot of them were on the press junket, right? So they would go from
Yeah.
radio station to TV station. So they would do like 9 stations in a row.
Wow.
And we had no idea what order we were either. So, you could have gotten somebody that been asked the same
Same
question
question already,
9
right?
times, right?
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
but, doing the research and going deep, um, I always remember the Mike Tyson story. I was interviewing Mike Tyson,
Mhm.
and I'm sure everyone was asking about, the ear biting incident
Oh gosh,
or
yeah.
whatever. I had done the research and found out his hobby was pigeon racing.
Pigeon
Now, I
racing.
have no idea what pigeon racing is,
Yeah,
how it works.
don't they fly? I didn't know they raced
I didn't
that's a
either.
thing. Hmm, okay.
So I just said, "Hey, champ, how's it going with your pigeon racing this season?" And he just lit up like a Christmas tree
Oh boy,
because
yeah.
I mean, he smiled before it was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and now it's like, "Oh man, I've got this
Good,
bird dog."
finally, not the ear, finally
Right,
something different. Now
right.
you talked
So,
about shut up, now what about speak up? How do you get people if you've had that scenario where you're interviewing and they're giving you, like, one-word answers or they're just
right.
how do you get that going?
A couple of techniques. If someone is really nervous, let's say you're recording a podcast and somebody's really nervous to be on mic, because most people aren't used to being in front of microphones. I understand that. So ask them before don't ever say, "Okay, we're beginning now," or recording in 5, 4, that's going to just make their blood pressure go up even higher.
Yeah.
So talk about their family, talk about their car, talk about something generic that gets them to open up a little bit. And in the meantime, you're already recording. Now, obviously, in live streams, we know, we get the big countdown and stuff, and we know we're
Yeah.
live. With me, the big on air red light goes on.
Right?
But
Yeah.
as far as you want to get people things like, tell me more about that, or find something once again in the research that they're going to love to talk about. And then
Mhm,
you can bring them back to the original question you wanted to ask.
mm.
So once again, I do if I had a goal. If I didn't have 2 pages of questions I didn't get to in the interview, I wasn't doing my job.
That's good.
So
Mhm. Yeah.
that's how much research you really need to do.
Yeah. So I'm probably doing this whole thing completely wrong with my live stream then, Royce, because I come on here with no list of questions. I come on here, but I know I have an open mind. I know what your topic is about. I've heard some of your messaging points before. So I don't have them written down on a notepad per se, but I have them in my like the speak up, shut up. I'm like, I want to ask him about that. And the
Right.
radio background and how it translates to engaging with pod. I had that in the back of my mind. but that technique that I use, because I want it to feel very conversational. I've been in some interviews before where I feel like the interviewer is scripted. Like, here's the 5 questions they want to ask, and they got to get them all in. So they
Right,
ask, and then they're really not listening to my response. They're, Okay, next question. Like, they're
right.
waiting for, you know what I mean? Like, so I've especially in this day of authenticity, so many things going into AI, and is this live or recorded or whatnot? Like, I feel like there's this authenticity element that goes along with it. But maybe that's because 'cause I'm a professional and I can do it at this level. I don't know. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. And the reason you're a pro is because of repetition.
Mm,
As Tony Robbins says, repetition is the mother of skill. We've both done this a lot.
mm,
And remember, it's different in long form.
yeah.
Because if you're going to talk to someone for an hour, you have a lot, you also need a lot more research, but at the same time, you have a lot of, leeway there. I mean, I usually had 15 minutes, let's say, on average for a guest. So those had to be precise and, pretty, but I'd go deep on questions. Bob Barker of Price is Right fame loved me so much. We had him on so many times that he actually gave me his home phone number. He goes, "Look, I'm
Wow.
tired of going through this booking crap. Here, just give me a day's notice, and I'll be glad to come on."
Oh,
Because
that's cool.
everybody was asking him about spinning the wheel or people's tops coming off. You know,
Yeah.
I was asking him things like, "Why did they retire the penny ante game?"
Hmm.
Which was a game on The Price is Right, and he just
Mm.
laughed. He goes, "'Cause the damn pennies kept getting stuck." I
Aw.
mean, just but he knew I'd taken the time to become a real fan.
Did you
So,
ever ask him
once again
about at the end of the show, he used to say, "Make sure you have your pets spayed or neutered." Did you ever
right.
ask him about that?
Nope, because
Yeah.
I know he'd been asked 1,000 times
Yeah,
about that.
okay, alright, so it's not the things that are top of mind is what I'm hearing you say, it's, like, going a little bit deeper
Right.
than
And when you ask a question like that, people will love
yeah,
you. The guests, they'll love it. They'll realize that, wow,
mm,
this person took some time to actually read up on me, or
yeah,
wow, how did you remember that? Some weird movie they made, or
yeah,
something strange. But if it's,
mm,
even if it's, Sam of Sam's Lumber, I guarantee if you dig deep enough, go to his LinkedIn profile, but look at like hobbies and stuff,
yeah,
right? Deal into the history of the company, find
mm,
some weird ads that
I
they've
like that,
run,
mhm,
things like that. They don't have to just be celebrities, but research by far is
yeah.
is the best way to, get a guest to open up when you amaze them with your
Yeah.
research.
Find some interesting topic in there, awesome. So I'm gonna shift gears if that's okay with you, Roy. So we're gonna now move
Sure.
into some Q&A, and I'm gonna pull up, some of the comments that we've been receiving in here. Now, the tricky thing with Restream is I can't shift the comments around. I think there's might be a way that I can, like, show a specific comment. Okay, I can do that. I can show a specific comment on here. So let me just scroll through. There's a couple that I wanna call attention to. Here's one from Merylcast. Now, sometimes I've noticed when I do these comments inside the streaming devices, it's like, do you remember that TV show Home Improvement where Tim would be talking to his
Absolutely.
neighbor? Well, you're like Wilson right now. The comments kind of covering you up. I think, yep, there we go. I'm gonna make myself Wilson because you're my VIP guest and I want people to be able to see you for this. But Merrill says he was previously in radio himself, a number of independent record labels, and he used to do a couple stations there. So, do you know Merrill Cast by any chance, Royce?
I do. I
Yeah.
love Merrill.
Does he
And
invite you
yes,
to different live stream events? Are you on his pick list yet?
yes, I am.
Yeah.
Thank
Good.
goodness, because when I forget certain events, all of a sudden I get a message from Merrill. I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds interesting." So,
Yeah, Meryl, thank you for doing that. Anytime I get a notification from you about a live event and I'm able to, maybe I'm working while watching it, I always try to pop in and show my support. And I know he's done the same thing today. He's probably invited some people to my live event. So he's a great guy for doing that. We
yes,
also have,
Merrill, and since you mentioned Phoenix, I
yeah.
was on the air here in Phoenix. I was the Blake of Blake and Sharp on Power 92.
Oh, very cool. Celebrity amongst us here. We have Natalie joining us. Natalie says, Real people voices. I think about it all the time for my podcast. Was she referring to something specific or just referring to, you think, the concept of being real
Yeah,
not
and
automated
don't
and scripted.
right, don't worry about being professional. You don't really
Yeah.
have to. But one thing we really lack
Mhm.
is we think we how many times use your voice, right? We always hear
Yeah.
that. Use your voice.
Right.
Well, do you use a guitar? Do you use
Mhm.
a piano? No, you play a piano or you play a guitar. So
Yeah.
play with your voice. There's
Mhm.
so many things you can do. And like you think, remember, like reading bedtime stories to your kids, right? All of a sudden you were acting out the big bad wolf or whatever it was.
Mhm.
Do that, and you'll find intonation, your pacing, your tone, everything. Use that all day long. I screw around with like grocery lists. I make
Yeah.
them game shows. It's like, and here comes peanut butter. It can be anything, but play when you're reading, especially something boring.
Yeah.
Why not add some flair to it? You know?
Yeah. Today's show was brought to you by Skippy Peanut Butter. Skippy, the
Yeah,
choice for families. All right,
absolutely.
so to move us along here, I see a couple comments coming in from folks that are mentioning your video technique from earlier. Claudia is saying she's recorded herself but doesn't listen to it. And David Ball, hey David, how are you? He's saying great advice on videoing herself for 5 minutes and watching it days later. And I did give a shout out to Annette, and I think I saw her coming in. The challenge here is her comments not coming up in Restream yet. So, oh, here it is. It's lower down on here. Hey Annette, nice to see you. She says, "What a happy accident following on
Hey,
this
Nat.
live that's on here." Um,
Yeah, we have to admit it's going to be painful when you watch yourself back for the first couple of times,
yeah.
but then pretty soon you're going to realize you say those words or do that thing, and
Mhm.
guess what? You'll see them coming, and you'll edit it before they ever leave your lips. One
Yeah.
of the most underutilized things as far as presenting, speaking, whatever, is
Mhm.
the pause
Yeah.
when you feel, and because in our brains we think silence, they're going to think I'm dumb or something, I must fill this with something, so you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Instead, just pause.
It gives
Now,
your
did that feel
it actually
weird?
is like white space for your brain to think
And it
about.
makes whatever you say next more powerful.
Exactly. I love that
So
technique. Yeah. And I think a lot of us, like I myself find I'm a fast talker generally, so I do have to pace myself, but especially when I get nervous, I feel like I have to fill that every space, every void that's in there. But a couple more things I want to bring up on screen here. Here's a comment from Sonia, and curious if you're in alignment with this. When she says, when you interview someone, start with something that puts them at ease, not just a courtesy, it's a tact. I think this is what you're referring to earlier, right? Like getting them talking about something they're comfortable with.
absolutely, or something they're passionate about, like Mike Tyson's pigeon racing hobby, something strange, or even make fun of. I
Yeah.
turn it around on them. How do you feel about people that make fun of blank, even though
Mm,
you're thinking the same thing?
mhm.
So
Yeah. That that's a good technique, and I'm glad that you remember that, Sonia, and that you're agreeing with that. David is saying no Skippy Peter Pan. Oh, this is not coming up on here now. Okay, here we go. All right. And his name's David. It was like top of mind for me. I don't know. I could have said GIF or something too, but it was just top of mind. Now, this is interesting, and that you just made me think about something. So my name on LinkedIn, I have a pie emoji at the end of it. And I usually don't recommend to the clients to do that technique because I've heard of a couple people getting their accounts locked up because LinkedIn doesn't like having something that's an emoji in your name field. So use this with caution. But just gonna like whisper to you right now, Royce. Annette does it. She puts the paw print emoji after her name, which is Black Dog Marketing, her company. When I look at your LinkedIn profile, your headline field has radio personality with a microphone after it. I'm wondering if you've ever thought putting a microphone emoji in your name field on LinkedIn.
the challenge with that, as we
Yeah.
talked about, is a lot of people don't correlate my radio presence with my ability to be a copywriter.
Yeah.
And since I still work with clients, that
Mm,
was just a little weird. So that's
okay.
that's the decision I made.
But are you
Now,
shifting more to
yes, yes,
okay.
I see. Obviously, podcasting is exploding. I don't see there are a couple of people that I know are doing similar things to this, but none of them have ever been on the radio.
Mhm.
So I think that's a little different
Yeah.
because I've worked in all kinds of formats, many different cities, and talked to well over 250 celebrities.
And there's a couple different, and now we're kinda getting on a tangent here with emojis, but there's a couple different emojis for microphones too. I'm gonna
Right,
drop this into the chat on LinkedIn, and then I'll be able to pull it up on screen. But there is actually more of like a radio looking, you know what I'm referring to, right,
right,
Royce?
the
The
old
radio
one,
looking
right,
microphone,
right,
and then there's more of a stage looking microphone like the Taylor
right.
Swift, but
The
it's not
dynamic
bejeweled, it's
ones,
just a regular looking microphone, but it's still
right.
it's more of like that handheld microphone there. So there's a couple different icons for you to look at on there, or for maybe others that are in here who might be speakers or podcasters in there as well. So as I'm waiting for that comment to come out, because it's about a 30-second delay. You know about this, right, Royce? Like
Yes.
30-second delay from the
Well,
time you say
somewhere
it to
there's
the
a
time.
note that says computers make our lives easier, and I like to find that guy.
That was not the case. What was it, Monday this week, when everything was being affected.
Yes,
Zoom, was down,
e-
Amazon Web Service, any site that was using Amazon Web Service, and I think there was like a trickle down effect. The whole internet was basically like shut down, and we're like, this was what life was like before we had access to technology and the
yes,
internet in there.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
People think we're crazy. We used to drink water out of garden hoses too, and we lived.
Live. It was actually pretty good as long as you didn't drink it right away. You had to let the hot water run through it first, or
Right,
else you'd burn your
exactly.
tongue on it,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And do it on it. So, what I want to do now as we start to close up our conversation here, Royce, is I'm going to share your LinkedIn URL up on screen. This is the tricky part when you're hosting these on Restream. You're hosting, you're co-hosting, you're serving as producer behind the
Right.
scenes, and you're also the handler, looking at audience comments and everything else coming in here. I'm going to pull your LinkedIn URL up here on screen. And for those that are listening to this on the podcast rather, it's linkedin.com/in/Royce dash the dash writer. Okay, so that's his LinkedIn URL. Now, if folks are listening or watching this and they want to connect with you, do you have any instructions for them on what they should say in their note?
Sure. Well, just say hi. I was with Brenda or heard you on Brenda or whatever. That's awesome.
Mhm.
And of course, you can always go to my website. It's voiceofroyce.com. Oh, what a shocker. He came up with that, right? So, voiceofroyce.com. I also have a free 5-day email crash course going into depth about some of the things we talked about getting used to you. And each email comes with a video of me explaining it too. So, and it's all free. And I'm working on a brand new course now called Mike Shy to Camera Confident.
Oh,
So,
cool.
and that will be out
So
soon.
I'm going to share your website as you're talking about this, because I was trying to figure out, like, where can I find, let me just shift our view here. Where can I find on your website the resource that you just mentioned? Give me one
If you
second.
just scroll down just a tiny bit, it should be the first right there, free
Oh, there you
course.
go. So sign me up on here. So I think I put the website up on screen, and now it's getting a little bit hidden now that I'm sharing this on here. This is the tricky part about, here we go, Restream. Um the different layouts they give you. I was trying to figure out what's the best way to show the website up on screen, and it's pretty tiny
Right.
on here. I think I can zoom in on this, and then I'll scroll down again so people can see this. So this was, did I pass it?
Yes, you got to go up a little.
Oh, I passed it.
It's not a deep website.
Oh, there
There
it
you go.
is. It was in the gray area over here. So look for the green button that says sign me up. And here is the free 5-day email course. I think I can get a direct link from that, and I'll drop that into the chat for folks if they are interested in downloading it. But again, if
Awesome.
you are interested in connecting with Royce on LinkedIn, I would say mention that you watched the show here today, and just mention my name. Saw you on the interview with Brenda. You don't need to name the name of the show. And, you don't need to say what the topic was, but just saw you on the interview with Brenda, or heard you on the podcast with Brenda. And it sounds like you'd be open to connecting. And then if people are interested in learning business with you, the best place is to go to voiceofroyce.com, your website, and that's where they can get that free download. Is that right?
That's right, and, you sign up for the newsletter there, and I also have a book that is out, which is pretty much the same kind of thing, but in even more depth, and
Yeah,
once again, that's pay what you want, so it's
that's
basically
nice.
free as well,
Yeah, I'm
so
seeing a lot of people trying to move to that type of a model, pay what you want, name your price on here. You don't have to pay anything, but if you wanna give me $5 towards it or $100, whatever you feel
right.
is befitting, that's a nice way
Well,
of
my
doing it.
course is gonna be rather expensive, at least that's what I'm shooting for, but it's
Yeah,
much deeper, but anyone on my email list will get a huge discount. Some will
yeah.
get it free,
Yeah.
so
Oh, good. So let me offer a suggestion there too. My course is going to be very expensive. My course is going to be
yeah,
so value
I
packed.
used the wrong word,
The
right?
price, you know
Special
what I'm gonna go
pricing?
with here because 'cause you're a marketer too. My price is gonna be set at the value you're getting out of it, and we talk
Right,
about this in Marketing with Mellor as well. I will talk about the fact that I don't offer discounts, I offer special rates.
right,
And discount, can help to, like, say, diminished value, not as good. And I think about the discount bins at the warehouse stores, and there's a bunch of junk in there, as opposed to saying my members get special rates for my power hours. It makes you feel special as a member. You're
right.
getting this special rate. It is a discount, but I'm not calling it a
That's
discount.
why you're the master, Brenda, that's why.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Hey, what just happened to your camera there? It
Uh-oh,
just
it's there,
Oh,
sorry.
look at that.
It's a magical camera.
It sounds like it looks like it in here as well. So, Royce, thank you so much. We were here today talking about keeping any type of audience engaged. Any final comments for our audience before we wrap up?
I would just say, getting used to you is going to help you in all areas of your life. If you
Mhm.
can hear your voice and what you're going to say or about to say before it comes out of your lips, you're going to be way ahead of almost anyone. The ability to communicate is so vital these days. Doesn't matter if it's in a board meeting, just a coffee chat, whatever. So, get used to you. Take the time. And yes, it'll hurt, but once you hear yourself and watch yourself for a while, you're going to get so good, so fast. Go try it.
It is a lot of like that practice, and I feel like now I don't listen to the sound of my voice. I look at the technical elements. Did the sound good? Was my microphone going in and out? Was it lit well? Was I making good eye
Right.
contact with the eye? Like, you get away from the what's in your head, and you start to focus
Right.
more on getting technically better, and I think that
And
helps
yes,
improve you, right?
but the self criticism never changes. So no matter how good I get,
Mhm.
I still think, oh man, I could have gone up on that. Or, I should have, why did you say that? You could have said it in 3 words. So,
Uh,
things like that. So
but that keeps us grounded, it keeps us real, Roy, that's what I think.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Royce. All right, thanks so much for watching. I wanna thank our audience for watching as well. Hey, as soon as we're done with the video, if you're watching this on LinkedIn or on YouTube, on LinkedIn, you're gonna see a paper airplane at the bottom, a share icon. So I wanna encourage you, as soon as you're done watching here today, to click on that share icon and share this video along. This is a really great technique to keep posting and keep active on LinkedIn, especially if you haven't posted yet this week, this month, or even this year. When you share that along, be sure to use the @ sign and tag at Royce Blake at Brenda Meller in on the post. That way we will get notified and we will certainly comment back, which is going to help both you and both of us to get more visibility. With that said, thank you all so much for watching. You can go to mellermarketing.com/live to see my upcoming schedule of shows. And I'm also going to have a link in here in just a second for the Marketing with Meller open house event, which I'm doing one more this week on Friday, and then I'll be offering it again in January if you happen to miss this and watch this later. With that said,
Sign
thank you
up.
so much.
It's worth it.
Yeah, thank you, Royce. And thanks for being a member of it. And thanks again for being on the show today.
My pleasure. Always great to spend time with you, Brenda.
Likewise. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.